it's Liv and welcome back to my channel for another video. So it is finally November. This crazy year is starting to come to an end. We're about to hit the 2020 season finale. But with that being said, the weather is of course starting to turn colder. If you don't live in Illinois like I do, where it is like unseasonably warm. I'm pretty sure this weekend is supposed to be the warmest weekend ever in history in Illinois, which is crazy because it's going to be, I think, mid-70s, and I'm ready for the sweaters. But with that being said, November is generally the start of the holiday season, time to curl up as the weather is getting colder, curl up with a good book, and maybe like light a nice candle. I'm so ready. So today I am bringing you both my October wrap up and my November TBR. I am finally starting to kick this reading slump, and I did get a book finished this month and a lot of progress in another one, which I will show you in the next clip. But I am combining the two just to say what I have read and what I am planning on reading during this whole changing of the seasons. So if you would like to know what book I did finish and what books I am planning on finishing, then just keep on watching. So I am going to start off with the one book that I did finish this month, which is of course The Tower of Nero by Rick Riordan, which is the final book in the Trials of Apollo series. If you guys don't know, I did vlog this entire reading experience. I do have a spoiler-filled vlog and review, which I will link down below in case you have read this book and you'd like to know my thoughts. Honestly, I think Rick did a wonderful job of tying up some loose ends that he had during the series, as well as keeping a few open and setting up some stuff for what's to come next. This is of course the final book in the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles, so I don't think any further books in the series will be centering around Camp Half-Blood necessarily, but that does not mean that a big epic crossover is out of the question, and I'm very excited to see what Rick does next. I loved getting to read Apollo as a narrator. I thought he was so funny, he was so great, he's so charismatic and just so fun, and it was great getting to read his thoughts, see his point of view and his journey from this all-knowing mighty god into someone with a little bit more empathy and someone that really cares for others around him. Of course, the battle scene I had mentioned in the review I did think was a little bit underwhelming, and I was hoping for something much more explosive, but all in all, still a wonderful read. So while I did only manage to finish that one book, I did get quite a bit of progress done in a different one, which honestly spans like maybe another 3 books or so I'm still counting it as a win, and it is also the first book on my TBR this month, but it is It by Stephen King. You all know the story, of course, of Derry Maine and Pennywise the Dancing Clown, but I am about 900 pages in. I do have a little bit of a ways to go yet. As you can see, I'm a little bit behind on my post-it notes, which was supposed to schedule me for the entire month of October. I will say that there are a lot of slurs, and I would put a bunch of trigger warnings on this book just in case you're sensitive to any of that. And personally, I am kind of finding it a little bit excessive how much he has used some certain words that I guess I'd just rather not see. And I'm also not finding it like super scary, but the story itself I do like to read about, and I'm this far in, and I don't want to DNF it at 900 pages in. I feel like I've put in enough effort that, you know, I can finish it. Next up, we do have a book that I did mention in my previous month's TBR that I didn't actually get a chance to pick up due to the giant behemoth that I am currently reading, but it is The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston, which is the second book in the Once Upon a Con series. The Once Upon a Con series is a series full of different fairy tale retellings, all centered around a convention and a TV show called Starfield, which is kind of like a Star Trek-esque sci-fi show that is getting a reboot in this universe. The first book, Geekerella, is of course a retelling of Cinderella, and this is The Princess and the Fangirl, which is a retelling of The Prince and the Pauper. In this book, a fangirl of the Starfield TV show and one of the actresses who is in danger of being fired from the show have to switch places at this convention. So the two both learn more about each other and the other side of the fandom itself through this book that I'm so very excited to finally read. Personally, I loved Geekerella. I found the character so relatable. It was such a fun twist on the tale, and of course I love anything that has to do with conventions and fandoms, so this was of course something that I knew I needed to pick up. The next 2 books that I have on my list are from the same series, and it is actually a series of rereads that I'm planning on doing. But first we have The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, followed closely by The Sea of Monsters. I had mentioned in my review and vlog of The Tower of Nero that I want to do a big Rick Riordan reread now that I can just sit and read all of his books from start to finish and read the entirety of the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles, as well as the Kane Chronicles and Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. So I am buddy reading these with my friend Robbie over at In His Nose Stuck in a Book. I will have his channel linked down below. You should all go subscribe to him. He's such a lovely human. But of course, these are books that I grew up with, and I have read these books a million times. You can't tell, they are very used. They are very well loved. And yes, we have the movie edition. I've mentioned this before. I wanted a copy for myself, and this was right around the time that the first movie was coming out, and I think Logan Lerman's pretty. So to have him on a cover of a book that I love so dearly was something that 10-year-old me found very, very essential. But I am very excited to finally reread these again from start to finish and see Percy's whole kind of arc from this 12-year-old kid learning who his father is, learning who he is through all this way that he's this established hero, and seeing all the mischief that he and his friends get up to along the way. Next up is a book that I have had on my TBR for quite a while, but I don't think I've ever actually seen someone talk about here on BookTube, but it is The Thousandth Floor by Katharine McGee. The Thousandth Floor is a dystopian novel centered in New York City in the year 2118, and the way it sounds, I think all of New York City lives in like what the Empire State Building was, but is now like 1,000 floors long. And I think what floor you live on kind of determines your place in society. So it does follow the point of view of 5 different teens, all with different storylines that I believe do intersect along the way, and kind of their life in this society all living in one giant building. I do believe this is a trilogy, if not a full series, but I haven't read a dystopian book in a hot minute, and I'm so excited. This was, of course, my favorite genre in junior high and leading into high school, as I believe it was probably everyone else's. It's got like Divergent, you got Matched, and this seems kind of right up that alley, so I feel like I'm gonna get very nostalgic reading this book, but I'm very excited to start it. And last but not least, we have a book that has been very beloved in the BookTube community for the past few years, but it is The Diveners by Libba Bray, which is the first book in this Diveners series. But this does follow our main character Evie in the streets of New York in 1926. There is a bit of a New York City theme going on here, I've noticed, with both this and The Thousandth Floor and every Rick Riordan book I've mentioned. I did not plan that, but it is a New York City month. But this is kind of a murder mystery with like supernatural powers and I think some cult stuff in here. And I have a bunch of friends who have been recommending this to me forever. I've owned this book forever, so it is high time that I finally pick it up and read it. But I have heard nothing but good things about it. I want to say I started reading, I think I read maybe the prologue during like the beginning of quarantine way back when, and I kind of forgot everything, so I will be restarting this from the beginning. But I'm very excited to finally read this and hopefully just marathon the entire series now that they're all out. Alright, and there you have it, guys. This was my quick little October wrap up as well as my November TBR. Now that I am emerged from this reading slump and I am ready to get going. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you have read any of these books, comment down below what your thoughts were on them. I would really love to know. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, you can also do so by hitting that button down below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!